Opinion: the calculated diplomacy behind PM Modi accepting Canada's G7 invite. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has confirmed he will attend the Group of 7 G7 summit in Kananaskis, Canada, later this month, following a personal invitation from newly elected Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. The development marks a surprising yet significant diplomatic thaw between New Delhi and Ottawa, whose ties had plummeted to historic lows in 2023. This moment carries more than symbolic weight. It not only refutes speculation that PM Modi had been sidelined from the G7, a claim loudly echoed across some media corners, but also underscores a broader truth: global diplomacy is not conducted in 280 characters but through deliberate strategy, earned trust, and mutual interest. India is not a G7 member, yet it has become a regular guest at the summit since 2019, when France invited PM Modi to the table in Biarritz. That tradition continues, now under the stewardship of Prime Minister Carney, who extended a fresh invitation and held his first formal call with Modi, expressing a desire to host him in Canada and reinvigorate the long-standing relationship between their nations. Coming just months after one of the worst diplomatic rows in India-Canada history, this overture marks a notable pivot. Ottawa had accused India of involvement in the assassination of Canadian citizen and pro-Khalistan activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Vancouver in 2023, an allegation New Delhi forcefully denied. The fallout was swift and severe: diplomatic expulsions, suspended visas, and a relationship pushed to the edge. PM Modi's decision to attend the G7 now reflects a strategic rebalancing, one that serves not only India's global ambitions but also subtly signals Canada's interest in charting a new course. Diplomacy is often about optics, but it is always about intent. PM Modi's acceptance of the G7 invitation, far from being an isolated gesture, signals that both countries may be ready to place dialogue above distrust. The Canadian statement itself acknowledged this shift, noting continued law enforcement dialogue and discussions addressing security concerns, a diplomatic euphemism that nonetheless indicates quiet progress on sensitive issues. This is not to say the core disagreements, especially over the Khalistan issue, have vanished. They haven't. But the fact that both nations are willing to reopen channels of communication and revive diplomatic norms is a significant shift from last year's combative posturing. Strategic patience, especially in the shadow of global realignments, is clearly winning over performative outrage. The Khalistan movement continues to be the most volatile fault line between India and parts of the Western world. While it enjoys fringe support abroad, especially in the diaspora, it has little political legitimacy within India and is considered a threat to national security. India has consistently urged countries like Canada, the UK, and Australia to take stronger actions against what it sees as extremist elements masquerading under the cover of free speech. Canada, for its part, faces a delicate balancing act. It is home to the largest Sikh population outside India, many of whom are law-abiding citizens, while a few openly support Khalistan. With its liberal values and deep pluralism, Canada is structurally challenged in responding to India's repeated security concerns without appearing to stifle minority voices. The way forward lies in nuance and sincerity: Canada recognizing India's legitimate national security interests and India appreciating Canada's democratic compulsions. This is where continued law enforcement dialogue becomes more than just diplomatic filler, it's the hinge on which future stability rests. PM Modi's attendance at the G7 also highlights India's growing stature on the global stage. In an era marked by deepening multipolarity and shifting alliances, India's voice, especially on climate, technology, and economic resilience, is increasingly indispensable. The G7, long seen as a Western-centric club, is slowly adapting to the realities of the 21st century, where emerging economies like India are no longer mere observers but influential participants in global governance. India's G7 participation is not just about optics, it's about ensuring that its national interests are represented in forums where big decisions are made. In a time of escalating geopolitical tension from Ukraine to the Indo-Pacific, India's neutrality, scale, and democratic credentials make it a crucial bridge between the global north and south. That Carney chose to include Modi in this year's G7 and that Modi accepted the invitation despite last year's bruises shows maturity and a strategic calculation from both sides. Diplomacy, after all, is about long games, not short tempers. In many ways, this G7 summit will not just be about trade or security or climate, it will be about testing the waters for reconciliation. Both India and Canada have something to gain from a functional, forward-looking relationship. Canada from India's massive market and geopolitical heft, and India from Canada's technological ecosystem and global clout. More importantly, the move silences a growing chorus that mistakes diplomatic silence for isolation. Modi is going to the G7 not because of hashtags or headlines, but because diplomacy is grounded in resolve, not reaction. Swipe left for next video. The lesson here is clear: international relations aren't reset through tweets or television sound bites. They are rebuilt through time, trust, and thoughtful engagement. And the 2025 G7 summit in Canada might just be the beginning of such a reset between two important, if recently estranged, democracies. Nan the writer is a technocrat, political analyst, and author. He pens national, geopolitical, and social issues. His social media handle is Prasenjitan. Views expressed in the above piece are personal and solely those of the author. They do not necessarily reflect News 18's views. Latest blogs.